Alright, so today let's talk about the real estate flipping formula. If you want to flip houses, the first thing you need to do is come up with the after repair value. What this is it's the competitive selling price of a property once it is all fixed up and repairs have been completed. So if you're looking at a potential investment property, you need to know after you've fixed it up and you're ready to flip it and sell it, how much it could sell for. You need to figure out the after repair value from the get-go before you even consider purchasing the home. So how do you find the ARV? Well, you're going to have to look at comparable sales of recently sold homes to determine the projected ARV of your home. And what that means is you need to compare other houses in terms of number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, the similar square footage, and similar condition. So if you find another home that recently sold in your area that had the same bathrooms, the same number of bedrooms, similar square footage, and it was in a similar nice fixed up condition, then that would be a comparable sale that you can compare your property to in terms of what price you think your property will sell for. So now let's go on to the formula. So this is an example of a property I just recently started doing this week. I found a property on the market where the after repair value after looking at comparable sales is $375,000. I estimated purchase closing cost to be $5,000. Well, what that is when you go to closing, you're going to have to sign documents with the seller to exchange the house property deed so that you become the new owner of the property, and you're going to have different fees like title insurance and recording the deed with the county, and you might have loan origination fees, and you're going to have prepaid interest. So your purchase closing costs are going to be anywhere from $3 to $5,000. It kind of varies. Everybody's different. Every house is different. So I estimated $5,000 for my house. Property taxes I did on a 6-month basis. I expect my flip to take 6 months, and the annual property taxes were $3,600 for the house I was looking at, which I figure is about accurate because typically they say a rule of thumb is property taxes are going to be about 1% of the after repair value or purchase price. So in my case, taxes are $3,600 a year, which is about 1% of a $375,000 house. So that makes sense. So anyhow, getting off tangent there, property taxes for 6 months is going to be about $1,800. During the time that I'm doing the flip, property insurance is going to be $800 because this is half of $1,600, which would be about what it costs to insure my property for a full year. And I'm estimating about $1,400 in utilities, which is gas and electric and water during the rehab in order to make sure that the lights are working and keep the house heated and whatever utility expenses we're going to have while we're doing the rehab. Seller closing costs, I just stuck in $5,000 again. When we go to sell the property, we're going to have to pay closing costs again. And on the sales side, we're going to have a commission to the real estate agent who lists the property for sale. And it's typically 6%. So 6% roughly of a $375,000 ARV. I'm going to be looking at around $22,500 in sales commissions. And now is the part where I stick in my rehab budget, which I'm being very conservative here and estimating a $60,000 rehab, and I want a $60,000 profit when this flip is all said and done. For every $100,000, I typically like to have a $15,000 to $20,000 profit. So since this is a $375,000 home, I like to be, in the $45,000 to $70,000 profit range. So after subtracting out all of these expenses, we have a max purchase price of $218,000 and $500 if you're going to get technical here. So that would be the max purchase price I would want to approach the seller with. Now this house is currently listed at $235,000. So I've got to get the seller to come down roughly $17,000 to get my max purchase price. And for some reason, if I can't get them to come all the way down, that's going to eat into my profits a little bit. And instead of a $60,000 profit, I might end up with a $50,000 profit. So moving on, summary, like I just said, the list price $235,000. I actually offered this week $205,000. We're going to wait and hear back and see if they reject or if they counter offer. but I know my max offer is $218,000, so I've got a little bit of room to play and hope that I can get a deal for $218,000 or cheaper. And another summary is that, rehab, 60 grand's a conservative estimate. So if for some reason my rehab doesn't take all 60 grand, that's going to increase my profits on the end side. So if I have to, I could come up on the max offer a little bit because I might make it up on the rehab, or we can adjust our profits. Like I said, I can take a little less profit in order to make sure I still get this deal, because a $50,000 profit is still a nice chunk of money for 6 months of work. And a seller commission, if I decided to get my real estate license, I could save about half the sales commission. I would have to pay out 3% to the buyer's agent, and I could save the seller's commission, which I'm actually going to get my real estate license here within the next few months, but I'm not sure which state, because it's possible that I might be going down to Florida to do real estate full time. So again, the formula, you start with the ARV, and then you're going to have to subtract out your different financing costs, which are the purchase and selling costs, as well as the selling commission. And then you've got all your renovation costs. You've got the rehab, you've got your holding costs, taxes, insurance, utilities. You're going to have to put in your profit, how much profit you want, and make that an expense that you're subtracting. And then you're going to have to subtract unexpected costs, which I put into my rehab budget. I made a very conservative rehab budget where my rehab might only take 40 grand, but I stuck in 20 grand of unexpected costs. So that's another line item, because you're going to have emergencies that come up that you're going to need to factor in. And once you subtract those out, again, you're going to come up with your max purchase price. So that concludes the presentation on the real estate flipping formula. I wish you best of luck and hope that you can be a master negotiator, and when you're trying to get an investment property, get it for as cheap as possible so that you maximize your profit potential. For more information, visit under30wealth.com and subscribe to our monthly newsletter, as you'll receive a lot of cool tips and updates by joining our newsletter. Thank you.